like a dog at the shrine of your life. I'll tell you my sins and you can sharpen your knife. Offer me that deathless death of good God. Let me give you my life. Take me to church.
Then we don't break, we not the bank.
Plus,
We all we got. Switch whips, relocate, way out of state. Bada bing, bada bang.
That's a song called The Bends by Earl Sweatshirt. One of my favorite artists, someone who often dwells in topics of depression. His music tends to sound a little bit more like this. This is another one of his songs called Grief. And I love how he starts this song. I mean, the first line in the song is, "Good grief, I've been reaping what I sowed. I ain't been outside in a minute, I've been living what I wrote." He always talks about how he doesn't like to go outside, he doesn't like to socialize, he doesn't like to interact. He's drugging himself, he's not sleeping well. He's talking about these things, he's saying, I'm really living what I wrote. Oftentimes when you have artists and entertainers who are doing these things, it's often the perception is that it's all for spectacle, it's all for like entertainment value, it's all for shock value. But something that we often ignore is that people are really going through things, like especially our people that are on the forefront, and then even the happier people that you see, you don't think of it, they're going through things too. I'm telling y'all this because I go through depression. It seems like, oh, I'm happy and silly and all this stuff. It's like, which I am. That's a real facet of my being. But like that whole darkness is another side of myself. And I have made active steps to understand it more than most. I've made, active choices to live with it, opposed to trying to get rid of it. Because I feel like that's what people spend a lot of time doing, thinking that it's something that can be conquered. I beat depression. I haven't been depressed in 5 years. Like, that's not really how it works. It comes and goes. I mean, I can tell y'all right now, every morning that I wake up, every single morning, it's like I'm hit with, it can be a good day. Everything can be like fine. The bills can be paid. I got a roof over my head. I got enough money to go get food. And it's like I'm waking up feeling like bad. It's something that you have to get a hang of before it gets a hang of you. And the worst moment I had was when I think 2018, I just took a significant amount of personal losses. I attempted certain things, it didn't work out. Had a job, didn't have a job anymore. I was thinking about how, even though I was out of school for 2 years or a year, like I was thinking about that. Everything bad in my life, I was thinking about like that. And it just started piling onto itself. And I was like, okay, well, you couldn't afford to continue college. And then you had to get a job, and then you lost this, or I never got fired or anything. I had to leave for other circumstances, but it was like that. And then I was like, oh, well, now you have to move, and now you don't have money, and now you're being a burden to your family that's out of state, and now you're going through this, and now you don't have this, and now you haven't eaten, and now you haven't, and it just piles on and on and on and on, and you're just sitting there, and it got to a point where I wasn't suicidal, I would say. But I was more along the lines of not wanting to be awake or not wanting to be conscious, because every conscious moment during that time period, I'm laying there in bed. I'm not eating, I'm not bathing, I'm just in bed, and I'm trying to go to sleep. Like when you're depressed and stuff like that, it's easier to sleep, but then you can't sleep forever, so you wake up, and then I'm waking up, and the only thing I can hear is just every mistake, big or small. I mean, it could be like a time I spilled my drink in like elementary school. I'm thinking about every single mistake I've ever made. And the perception is like, I'm the only one who has messed up this much and my life is over because I've made all the wrong choices and there's no redemption for me and there's no coming back. And I know what you're thinking about, like, oh, well, I can think of a lot of people who are having things, but when you're in that moment, it's not logical. It's not a logical place to exist in where you're just like, oh yeah, I can. No, you're just like, you're just stuck. You're stuck in the visceral form of analysis paralysis. You're stuck. And so what ended up getting me out of that was I eventually, talked to my parents, called them, and I'm just telling them, like, look, I've messed up. I don't have anything. It's over with. And they're like, what do you mean it's over? I'm like, it's over. I guess I have to move home, and like, I can't, I don't know. I'm giving up on this. I'm not good at this. I'm not a good artist. I'm not, and it wasn't until they told me how they've gone through those things. It wasn't until hearing that my dad telling me, like, yeah, I used to pick you up from school sometimes and I would have $5 in my pocket. And like, I wouldn't know how I'm going to feed you that night. And hearing that perspective, it made it like kind of all make sense to where it's like, oh, I'm not the only one who goes through things. Because you see your parents as like superheroes. You see your parents as like invincible, these problem solvers. And then you learn like, oh, no, there are people that go through this. And then the doors start to open. And then you start to gain that perspective of like, oh, well, other people go through things. And they're telling me things they've gone through and the things that their parents gone through and the things that their friends go through. And it allowed me to see outside of myself, because that's what happens when you're depressed. And when you let it get a hold of you, you become very selfish in everything in your world, in your life. You think that you're the only one that's allowed to make mistakes, that has made mistakes, and you think that everyone else is living it up and they're all perfect. No one can help you. There's no saving you. It's over. It's so dramatic, I'm saying all this in a very, I know if I sat down and like formulated a way, I could like communicate all this better. But what I'm saying this to say is, when it comes to really dealing with that darkness, dealing with that weight, I can tell you guys, it's not something that goes away, but it's something that you have to manage. And you manage it by shifting your perspective the best you can, as far as understanding that other people in the world are going through things. You're not the only one. You can understand that it's never truly over. And what I mean by that is, like, when there's people that go to jail, people go to jail for like 30 years, for crimes they didn't commit, or they rob someone and they get out and then they start a family. There's people that, lose their limbs. There's people that, beat cancer. There's people that get fired from high corporate positions. There's people that think it's over in every aspect of life. And for them, it legitimately, like, for a lot of these people, it's like, it's over. You've been shot in the chest 5 times. It's over. But then they get through it. So then it gets to the point, it's like, okay, well, if people can make it through that, I can make it through my personal issues, where I'm feeling like I'm not going to make it. But the reality is you're going to make it. That's why I played that little excerpt in the beginning, because Earl is someone who deals with depression and knows what it's like. And still he says, bend, we don't break. We go through it, but we're not going to allow it to kind of collapse and fold on us. Another thing that you can do to manage depression, routines. Not having a routine is deadly. They say like the devil's playground, or idle hands are the devil's playground. That's true. Because when you're not like occupied, when you're not busy, that's when you start thinking. And when you start thinking, that's when you start doubting. When you're not doubting, you start saying, oh, I'm wasting time. I haven't done this today, and I didn't do this, and oh, now I'm behind, and now people are getting ahead, and now I'm a failure. And like, routines are good, bro. Getting out of bed in the morning, and I'm someone who struggles with this, but getting out of bed in the morning and brushing your teeth is a start. Going outside, it doesn't matter what it's for. If you're just going to walk to the mailbox, or if you're going to drive to your closest McDonald's, getting outside, seeing the sun, seeing other people live their life, seeing the world spin, seeing things evolve, that's going to help you too. When we sit in our rooms, when we sit in our bed and we sit in the darkness and we just allow our thoughts to collapse in on us, and we just allow that weight to just stack and stack and stack and stack and stack, and all that pressure to just build and build and build and build. You know, they say pressure bursts pipes. I mean, RIP to people that have, you know, lost their battles with depression and, you know, gave into suicide and everything. But the only thing that we can afford to do is to find what is worth living for. And I know there's a lot of pressure to make money and be successful, but success is something that can be independently decided by you. If you're making enough money to have a living, you know, you work at, I don't know, Costco or something like that. You do like food delivery, or I don't know, you have like a little corporate job or something, or you like telemarketer. I don't know, whatever it is you're doing, and you have enough to like literally make a living, but you really like to play the piano, do that thing to make a living and play the piano. Stop caving under this pressure that you have to be a millionaire by 25, that you have to be a billionaire by 30. If you don't have 5 girlfriends, 5 cars, and 5 houses by the age of 20, then because look at Lil Pump. Lil Pump did it. Depression is something that's real and it's gripping, and people deal with it their entire lives. I don't know the science behind it. I don't know why our brains do this to us. But the only thing that we can do, the only thing that we can control, I mean, you could try to drug yourself, but I highly suggest that you just fight. Life is a fight. We were talking about this in the first video, where you have to kind of you have to persevere because we keep enduring because we have to. When it comes to depression, it's the same thing. Like, you have to keep going, you have to keep trying. And when you catch those moments where you're just sad or you're just unmotivated, it's okay to give in every now and then and just kind of sit there for a second, but don't allow that to turn into a day or 2 days or 3 days or 4 days. Get up and keep moving. I'm telling you, get up, because no one else on earth is allowing these things to stop them from achieving it. And there's a lot of people that go through this, more than you would think. Some of your favorite people that you see that just seem to get stuff done. I mean, if y'all look at me and y'all say, oh wow, he's making so many videos and he's doing this and he's working on this, I go through depression. I go through stints of just not being motivated to do anything. I skip days of work. But I'm telling y'all, as someone who has been on both sides of it, it's better to be on the end of constantly fighting, telling life to suck your dick, keep it moving, keeping it gangster. We thug it out, bro. We thug it out, man. Don't ignore your feelings. Don't allow pressure to build up. Talk to people. That helps. But at the end of the day, man, we thug it out. We keep it moving. So I'm gonna leave y'all with a song by another one of my favorite rappers, RXK. He's a little bit on the silly end of things, but the song, it resonates on this topic where it's the same thing. It's like, look, man, I don't feel like doing this, but I'm going to do it. Yeah, this is just very, I want you to understand too, these videos are not, like everything I do, it's not scripted. Maybe I could benefit from that or whatever, but I just rather kind of just turn on the thingy and just talk to y'all straight from the heart. So I hope y'all can take something out of what was spoken today. And, as usual, be blessed.
Yeah, hey. On my worst days, I won't give up. Never say walk around with your chin up. Plug calling about his money. He ain't even being funny. Shit get bad, I go through shit. I don't think nobody know that shit. I ain't got it like that, so the plug dead it. Shit that I did, I don't really regret it. Shit that I said, I already said it. Bitch said she down, but giving me headache. Get the fuck away from me, you ain't grinding. Sack of my head disappear like the mine. Get on the boot and feel like I'm flying. Heart racing, I feel like I'm dying. Sometimes I wake up and tired of trying. On my worst days, I'm grinding. Walking that bitch and ball like an all-star. star. Pack up, we all gone. Ain't no room left, my heart gone. Get the fuck on my face, walk on. Bro, switched up, used to be my dog. Disrespect my niggas, bah, get knocked off. In the trash, sit hamburgers and hot dogs. Say what you want, get your rocks off. Say what you want, but nothing pop dog. Little change, get them knocked off. Step in that bitch like the top dog. Who gon' spend it when we all gone? If I die, how I'm gon' spend the money? All my life worried about spending money. Spend my whole life trying to get the money. Don't spend it hitting at an op nigga. Blood running through my vein, that shit feel cold. Had to use the stove when it was cold. I don't need no features, did it on my own. Had a tat on my face since 12 years old. Don't ask me who snitching, I know. These niggas capping, they don't ride with no poles. I don't ride with no pop goals. On my worst days, I just wouldn't give up. I ain't wanna get up, but still got up. Can't take it on the shit, I'ma shoot the shit up.
I'm not worried about nobody trying to outshine me. You can't outshine me. It's impossible. How? How, bruh? Because the only way you can outshine me is being happier than me, bruh. If I'm more stressed out than you, I'm the one that's losing. So long as I'm the one that's happy, I'm winning, bruh. I'm winning, bruh, because I know niggas that's stressed out, that's flyer than me, got more money than me, than all that. You stressed out. I'm not stressed out about nothing. I'm not worried about money. I want to be happy.
The one get boxed
Cause
off.
I'm the type of nigga that's built to last. If you fuck with me, I'm gonna put my foot in your ass.